YouTube title: Justice Malala, the damage has already been done, Cyril, too little, too late. YouTube article: There comes a time in the life of a nation when the silence of its leader is more damaging than any scandal, more corrosive than any economic crisis, and more revealing than any investigation. For South Africa, that moment is now, and Justice Malala, the veteran political commentator, has thrown down the gauntlet in the most brutal way yet, his pen slicing through the illusion that President Cyril Ramaphosa still holds moral authority. The damage has already been done, Cyril, he writes, but it's not just a column, it's a national mirror, cracked and trembling with disappointment. For years, Cyril Ramaphosa was hailed as the great reformer, the one who would rescue the country from the abyss Jacob Zuma left it in. He was dubbed the Buffalo Soldier, the cool, collected man with a strategic mind and clean hands. He was the businessman turned politician who could walk into global boardrooms and assure investors that South Africa was back on track. But the dream has curdled. The man once seen as a beacon of hope now appears hopelessly shackled by the very party he vowed to cleanse. Justice Malala's recent piece is not just criticism, it's a scream into the void of what the presidency has become under Ramaphosa, cautious, hesitant, afraid to ruffle feathers in a room already on fire. The damage Malala speaks of is not merely reputational. It's structural. It's the hollowing out of institutions, the paralysis of accountability, the toxic fusion of party politics with state machinery. It's Eskom's collapse while promises fly like confetti. It's the empty podiums and the recycled rhetoric. It's the nation on stage, waiting for leadership, and getting silence instead. Take the recent scandals, the Phala Phala farm saga, the inertia on cadre deployment, the ANC's internal decay spilling into every level of governance. While Ramaphosa dithers, corruption thrives. The people bleed while policies stall in the endless dance of consultation. Malala doesn't need to invent anything, he simply connects the dots. And the picture is damning. What makes Malala's critique cut so deep is its emotional accuracy. He isn't merely analyzing the president, he's mourning the president that could have been. South Africa didn't just vote for a politician in 2019. It invested its final reserves of hope in Ramaphosa. That hope has been squandered. Through inaction, through tepid responses to national crises, through his desperate bid to hold together a crumbling ANC at the expense of real change, Cyril Ramaphosa has betrayed the faith the nation once placed in him. It's not that people expected miracles. South Africans are some of the most resilient and politically savvy citizens on the continent. They knew the ANC was a ship riddled with holes. They knew Zuma left behind a scorched landscape. But they believed Cyril would at least start plugging the leaks. Instead, under his watch, those leaks have become floods. Municipalities have collapsed. Crime has spiraled. Youth unemployment is now a ticking time bomb, with young people watching their dreams dry up like rivers under load shedding. Ramaphosa's defenders will argue he has faced impossible odds, the pandemic, a hostile party, global economic pressures. But leadership is defined not by ideal conditions, it is tested in fire. And when the fires came, Marikana, July unrests, the KZN and Gauteng riots, the Phala Phala fallout, Cyril blinked. He called for commissions. He formed panels. He promised transparency. But justice was delayed, and accountability deferred. Over and over again. The tragedy is that the president may well be a decent man, but decency without courage is useless in politics. And as Malala writes with piercing clarity, this isn't about what could still be done. It's about what hasn't been done. The rot has set in, and South Africans are feeling it in their bones. From Alexandra to Kebera, from the Eastern Cape hospitals to the crumbling roads of Limpopo, the broken promises echo louder than any State of the Nation address. Even the business community that once championed Ramaphosa as the return to sanity is growing cold. Investors don't believe in speeches anymore, they want action. And action, it seems, is something this presidency is allergic to. We have become a country of crisis meetings, with no results. A land of strategy sessions, policy reviews, and endless planning documents while hunger ravages households and crime owns the night. In his piece, Malala essentially writes Ramaphosa's political obituary, not because he has lost an election, but because he has lost the people's confidence. And perhaps worse, because he seems unaware of how deeply he has lost it. South Africans don't believe anymore. Not in promises. Not in plans. And certainly not in Cyril Ramaphosa. The damage, as Malala put it, has already been done. It is this phrase, simple, final, devastating, that now hangs over the Ramaphosa presidency like a shroud. There is no grand recovery speech that will reverse the years of inertia. No ANC conference that will cleanse the stench of compromise. The trust has evaporated. Even if Ramaphosa were to suddenly act decisively, fire corrupt ministers, overhaul law enforcement, and confront the ANC's toxic networks, the bitter truth remains, he should have done it years ago. What remains now is a presidency limping toward its end, haunted by the ghost of potential. Justice Malala didn't need to shout. His tone was mournful, resigned, reflective. Because when a nation's last hope fades, all that's left is to reckon with what could have been. And for South Africa, that reckoning is now. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below, because your voice matters in shaping the conversation.